Okay, so now I am again explaining you about the lesson number 10. First of all, whenever we start, so first we will give the overview about this lesson. Like we have three mother letters, where the first one is alif, then second is waw, then third one is ya madda. And every mother letters having their own individually definitions, which we have to remember while we are reading in Quran, because when we know the definition, then we can easily find out the mother letters. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us, because in the Quran there will be many times these three letters will come, alif, waw, and ya. But the all alif, waw, and ya are not the mother letter. Okay, we have some specific alif, waw, and ya which we will call mother letters, not all. So when we check the condition or the definition of alif madda or waw madda and ya madda, then we will call it the madda letters, and then we stretch it for 2 seconds. Otherwise, not. Got it?
Mm.
So this
Can you
the
repeat it quickly?
yes.
Repeat it quickly. Can you?
hmm You want to repeat it quickly?
Is the last thing.
Can I repeat again?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying that whenever we are starting this lesson, every lesson, not this lesson, every lesson when we are starting, so first of all, we will give the overview about that lesson, what we are learning in this lesson, what we are starting. So while when I start the lesson number 10, so I can tell our student that today's our lesson number is 10, which is about Alif Madda. But before we start Alif Madda, we will talk about the Madda letters. So there we have three Madda letters. First is Alif Madda, second is Vav Madda, and third one is Ya Madda. Okay, so inshallah we will learn one by one, but now we just talk about the Alif Madda. The other thing is, how can we find the Madda letters? So as I told you that we have individually three definitions of these three mother letters. So uh, whenever we find any mother letter, alif and waw and ya in the Quran, so first of all we check either it has that definition true or not. And if it is, then we will call it alif madda or waw madda or ya madda. Otherwise, we will say that is the normal alif, and then we don't stretch it. For example, if alif has a fatha, so then we will call it alif is the normal, and now we just read alif with fatha. Okay. Second thing,
Okay.
now we will just talk about the alif madda. Okay, the definition of alif madda. So first of all, every madda letter has their own two conditions. Okay, the alif madda has two condition, and you can say the definition as well. And the second vav madda is also has a two condition. Vav madda is also has a two condition. So because today's lesson is totally about the alif madda, so we just talk the two condition of alif madda, and then we will go for the second. So the definition of alif madda, or we can say the conditions of alif madda, is when alif has no sign. Okay, when alif comes empty. Empty, we will call those letters which has no sign. Okay, we have also one separated lesson you will see after, which we will call empty letters, and the empty letters are those letters which do not has any sign on the top or in the bottom. So we will call that letter is empty letter, and then we just skip that letter. But in the definition of alif madda, we will find if there is a alif which is empty, which has no any sign, and the besides letter has a fatha on it, mean the before letter of alif has a fatha, so we will call it alif madda. So these are the two conditions. First condition is when alif has no sign and the letter before alif has a fatha. So then we will call it. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that which letter comes before of alif. There will be any letter comes before alif, but we just want the fatha on the top. So if we have a fatha on the previous of alif, so then we will call it alif madda, and then we stretch it for 2 seconds. Got it? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So now just you have to tell your students that whenever we find the madda letters, so we stretch it for 2 seconds. That's mean the same sound. If we have a alif madda, so we stretch the fatha sound for 2 seconds. So you just highlight it like that, and you can ask your student to read this word. Okay, because your student already know the letter name, the letter sound, and he is already know the sign name and the sign sound. He is already know how to read ba with fatha. So you can ask your student to read this letter, so he can read ba with fatha like ba. That's it. Now you can teach your student, because after the ba there we have a alif, and alif doesn't have a sign on the top or in the bottom, and ba has a fatha which is the before of alif. So that's mean this alif is alif madda. And now what we do, we stretch the same sound of fatha for 2 seconds like ba. Got it?
Ba.
Understood?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ba.
yeah. Same as it is when we go for the next. So here we have again ta with fatha. When we read ta with fatha, so it is just ta. But when we have alif after ta without any sign, and ta has a fatha on it, so then we stretch it for 2 seconds like ta. And similarly, you can go on and finish this lesson until ya will comes. So this is the lesson number 10, and I think it is easy, but uh, if your student doesn't understand what are you talking about, so you have ability, that ability, so which you can make much easier to your student. Okay, this is a teaching way. How can you communicate with your students as his comfort zone level. After that, here we have again the exercise comes, where you just check your student that he is stretching the madda letters or not. If not, so you can tell that, see, this is alif madda because it has no sign and the previous letter has a fatha. So that's mean we have to stretch ka for 2 seconds. So stretch it. Now the next we have, okay, here we have a standing fatha. This is lesson number 11, which is about standing fatha. So standing fatha is very easy lesson. You can just tell your student that whenever you have a same sign as look like a fatha, but in a standing position, so we will call it standing fatha. Okay, when the fatha comes in a standing straight position, so we will call it fatha. And what we do, we just stretch the sound of fatha for 2 seconds. Got it? So, May, can you hear me? Your voice is too much low. Hello?
I can't hear you.
Your voice is very low. I think whenever you start the session with your laptop, so your voice will be very low.
Mm. Now
So
it's
you have to check
good
your
or
headphones. So
no?
now,
I have headphone.
sorry,
Now it's low too.
yeah, still very low.
I don't know the reason.
Okay,
I don't know why I use my headphone.
yeah, you have to check it again. And now, I am going on, but you have to check your headphones. Why your voice is coming too low, and it will happen just whenever you are using your headphones. When you take the session on your mobile, so your voice will be very clear. Now it is very low, so that's mean there is some issue on your headphone. So can you do you
I will check
understand?
it.
Do you understand the standing fatha lesson?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we tell about this lesson?
When you explain it, the voice. I'll open my phone
Okay,
until I will check my headphone.
okay, okay. Yumna, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, how are you, Yumna?
I'm fine.
Okay, are you doing practice? Did you saw all the previous lessons videos?
Yes, I did. I just have this third lesson. I didn't finish it all as I had some problems at home. Sorry.
Okay, but finish all your previous lesson, because when we finished all our lessons, then we take the demo for from whole lessons of Qaida.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want this Qaida, or you want to teach Qaida Nuraniya or Qaida Baghdadiya?
I'm fine with either. Mm.
Okay, but I'm already told our every teacher that you are not restricted to use this Qaida. Okay,
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
sorry.
What?
Yeah, I'm just saying that you are not restricted to use this Qaida. Okay, if you want to use
Uh,
any other Qaida, so you can.
oh, yes.
Okay, which Qaida you are comfortable, so you can teach with using that Qaida, and you are uh, well comfortable with that. So you can take any other Qaida, but if you want this one, so you can use it as well. And now tell me, do you have this Qaida downloaded in your laptop?
Yes, I downloaded it, and I had a question for the interface of the Paint. For the first lesson, you open a window to write in it, a white window here. How do I do that?
Uh, Sorry.
Beside the picture.
Hmm. See, resize the picture. Okay. So see, uh, if you want to zoom out, if you want to write, as you I have the question, right? You want to write on the picture, right?
Beside it, yes.
Hmm. So see, first of all, you have to zoom out this picture. So you have a couple of ways to do that. First, here we have on the bottom, as you see the cursor, you can just click on the minus
Uh,
button, so it will be zoom out. And after that, you have one small box here. You can see that.
where?
See my cursor when I am going on the on or the top of that box. So my cursor is also changing. Can you see that?
Um, I think uh, uh, I think the screen is off on.
There is no screen share.
Oh wait. Okay. Now can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am telling about the zoom in and zoom out in this paint. So first of all, you have this point where you just click on the minus button, so it will be zoom out, and if you click on the plus button, so it will become zoom in. Okay.
Okay.
Then the second is, if you just click control on your keyboard and then push click the W, control plus W, so this window will appear where you again resize your picture. For example, here we have 100. So if I change it into the 150 and click on enter, so you can see now the size of the page is changed.
Yes.
Now, if we want to write here, so you have to click on this box, you can see, can you see the cursor of mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you just click on it and then you push right hand side, so it will appear the white sheet, and now you can write anything whatever you want. If you want to type, so you can just click on A button and then you can type here anything you want. And if you want to write with your brush, so here we have many type of brushes, so you can check and you can do practice by sizing, increase thickness, and you can hear. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so can we go next?
Yes.
Okay, now see, we are going for the next lesson. Here we have a lesson number 12, which is about standing kasra and standing dhamma. As I told you, the standing fatha, standing kasra, and standing dhamma's lesson are very easy. On the standing fatha, we just tell our students that whenever we have a same fatha sign comes in the standing shape, so we will call it standing fatha. The standing fatha look like a straight line, or we can say the alif, or we can say the one digit. Okay, so whenever we see standing fatha, so we stretch it for 2 seconds, and the sound will be the same. And in the standing kasra, when we have a same straight line comes in the bottom, so we will call it standing kasra, and the sound will be the same as kasra, and we stretch it for 2 seconds. And the standing dhamma, whenever the tiny vowel comes in an inverse shape, upside down, so we will call it standing dhamma. And now we will stretch the standing dhamma for 2 seconds, and the sound will be the same as the sound of dhamma. Okay.
Is it written like this in Quran? It's,
Yes.
I didn't see it. it. It's like يا صغيرة and ألف صغيرة or what?
Haha, yeah, it's like that. We will call it standing kasra or standing dhamma. Or
Oh,
if
yeah.
see, first of all, in the beginning I told you we have to convert the Arabic hard words into English smallest and easiest word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because your student will be native English native language, so that's why you have to make the easiest way to remember your students. So that's why the letters of mustaliya, you know about that, the letters of mustaliya which we will read
Bold,
bold, so we will
bold.
convert that mustaliya word into bold letters. Because first of, if you tell your students we have 7 mustaliya letters, and those are khoswa dagdin qiz, which are khoswa dot, and you can carry on. So your, first of all, your student will have to remember that word, which is a much harder to remember, which is mustaliya. Then he have to remember those letters, 7 letters, so it will become very harder for them. So that's why if we say our student that we have 7 bold letters, so the bold is very easy word to remember your students. So the other thing is he just wanted to remember the 7 letter, that's it. And the bold letters is also already he know what the meaning of the bold, and you just tell him the bold letters we will read with the heavy and strong voice, and the tip as I told you that just round your lips and then pronounce, so it will automatically become the bold letters. So same as it is here, the standing kasra, we will give the name of that sagira, you can tell, but we will change that name into standing kasra. The sound will be the same E, and we just stretch it for 2 seconds. E, got it?
E.
Now here we have a exercise which your student will tell you each and every words. Then we are going to the next. Here we have Sukun, lesson number 13, and Waw Lim. So that's mean in this lesson we have to tell our student two rules of tajweed. The first is Sukun, second is Lean. Okay. So first of
Okay.
all, you just focus on the Sukun sign, and then you can tell your student about the Waw Lim. Okay, don't tell your students both at the same time because it will become much harder for them. So you just first focus on Sukun sign, and it doesn't mean if it will take two classes or one class or three classes, but just focus on the Sukun. When you think your student is know about the Sukun sign, then you can tell your student about the vowel.
Okay.
Okay. Now about the Sukun sign. So can we start this lesson, or you want to practice your previous?
Start this lesson and we'll practice them all.
Yeah, actually this lesson is little bit harder, okay? Because in this lesson we have to tell the new sign which is Sukun, because so far we are telling our student that all the sign having their own sounds, but this lesson doesn't have a sound. The Sukun sign do not has a sound. So first of all, when you are starting this lesson, so same you will give the overview about the lesson number 13, and then you start this lesson, and then you can tell this sign which you will see in a orange color. This sign we will call Sukun. Okay. And the second thing, in this lesson you have to tell your student three or 4 points. The first is the name of this sign, which is Sukun. The second is how this sign look like. This sign look like a tiny dal. The third is whenever any letter has a Sukun, so how will we read that letter? So the answer is whenever any letter has a Sukun sign, so we just join that letter sound to the previous letter, or we just connect the letter sound to the previous letter. Okay.
Okay.
This is the third point. Okay, and then the fourth point is the second name of Sukun is Jazam. This is the fourth point. And the fifth point is whenever any letter has a Sukun sign, so we will call that letter is Sakin. Got it?
Second.
Whenever any letter has a Sukun, so we will call that letter is Sakin. For example, here we have a Vav, and Vav has a Sukun sign, so we will call Vav Sakin. If Ba has a Sukun sign, so then we will call Ba Sakin. Noon has Sukun sign, then we will call Noon Sakin. Okay, any else letter has a Sukun sign, so we will call that letter is Sakin. So these 4 or 5 points you have to tell your student, and when your student will remember these points, then you go for the lean letter. Okay.
Okay.
So after that, when you complete your Sukun sign and you know your student is completely understood about the Sukun signs, and then you can tell we have two letters which we will call lean letters, as same as Madda letter. In the Madda letters, we talk about three Madda letters, but in the lean letters we have two lean letters. First is Vav lean, second is Ya lean. Okay, in the mother letters we also have a vowelin and yalin. So how can we make the differentiate between both vowelin and vaw madda and yalin and ya madda?
Wowlin has a sukun
Both has a
and
sukun. Vowelin and vaw madda both having a sukun.
the sukun sign on it. Wow madda has no haraka, no sukun
No, no.
ظاهرة.
I told you the vaw madda and vowelin both having a sukun sign.
Wowlin has a fatha on the letters preceded, and
Hmm.
wow madda has a dhamma on the letter
Yeah,
preceded.
that is the differentiate between both. Okay, the Vaw lean has a fatha on the beside letter, and Vaw madda have a dhamma on the
Dhamma.
beside letter. But in this stage, we don't talk about the Vaw madda because we didn't told our students about the Vaw madda yet.
Yeah.
So here I'm just telling you about that because I'm just telling you that if we want to make the differentiate between Vaw lean and Vaw madda, so then we have to know the definitions. If we know the definition, then we can easily find out which one is Vaw madda, which one is ya Vaw lean, which one is Ya madda, and which one is Ya lean. Okay.
Okay.
So in this lesson, you just tell about your student about the vowel. The definition of vowel is when vowel has a sukun sign, means when vowel sakin comes after fathas letter, means when vowel has a sukun sign and the beside letter has a fatha. So then we will call it vowel. Same as like alif madda, the previous letter of alif also has a fatha, and in the vowel there is also fatha on the previous letter. So, but in the madda letter we stretch for 2 seconds, but in the lean letters we don't stretch. We just read without stretching and without jerking. Okay.
Okay.
So this two Tajweed rule you have to tell your students and then you start your lesson. Now, if we want to write, how will we connecting or joining the sukun letter with the previous? So it is, for example, if we talk about this word, so first letter we have ba. The sound of ba is b, and ba has a fatha, so it will become b a
Ba.
ba. And after that we have wow, which has a sukun sign. So here we have to add or connect the sound of wow. The sound of wow is w. This is the sound of wow. Okay, and then we have to connect it with the previous letter. So we will read bow. Okay, we read ba with fatha and then we just pronounce the sound of wow in the end. Bow. Got it?
Bow.
Yeah. So in this lesson, we just have the same letter with sukun because here we also learning the vowel. So that's why we have one another lesson as well, which is totally about the sukun sign. On that, we will see more examples about the sukun sign. Okay.
Okay.
So when you finish that, so after that your exercise will be started and then your student will tell you each and every word like this one. If your student are confusing, so you just tell, start from the beginning, read one by one, see what is the first letter is. The first letter is alif and alif has a fatha. So read just alif with fatha, so it will become a, and then we have to connect with wow, so it will become au because the sound of wow is oo, au. Then ha has fatha, so he will read directly ha na, au ha na, and then you tell your student to read quickly because whenever any letter has a movement sign, so we don't stretch it. We just read it within the 1 second, and when there is a vowel in, so there we also don't stretch. We just read normally, so it will become au ha na. Got it?
Bow Hana.
Okay, so other all the letters you have to do practice, and also you have to write here if you want to write any word in English. So how can you write? Then we are going to the next lesson, and Sumaya, these are the remaining pages. Okay, in these
Okay.
some lessons are very simple and easy. For example, as I told you about the empty, so some more lessons are very easy which we will complete in a shorter time. Okay, in just one
Okay.
lesson. So I think inshallah one or two more sessions we will cover all the lessons. Okay,
Okay.
uh, now go for the next. Here we have a wow madda. Okay, before lesson we will talk about wow lean. Here we have a wow madda. So in this lesson, first of all, you just ask about the mother letters. That's mean how many mother letters we have. We have three mother letters, and which one are those? So there are alif, vav, and ya. So your student will tell you. If he forgot, so then you can again explain it. So here we have three mother letters: alif madda, vav madda, and ya madda. So now you can ask your students what is the definition of alif madda. So if he will tell you, so then that is okay. Otherwise, you have to again revise.
Okay.
Now, the next, when you complete your previous things here, then you can tell your students, now we are starting the madda letters. Sorry, the vav madda. So as we know that alif madda having two condition, so same as it is, the vav madda also has a two condition. Okay, so the two conditions are, first condition is when vav is sakin, means when vav has a sukun sign, and the second condition is when the previous letter has a dhamma. So here you can tell your student the differentiate between the vav madda and vav leen. Okay, vav madda, your student should must know the vav madda has a dhamma on the previous letter and vav leen has a fatha on the previous letter, and both vav has a sukun. So whenever you are reading in Quran, so when you see vav sakin, so always check the previous letter. Okay,
Okay.
if the previous letter has a fatha, so we will call it vav leen, and if the
Maureen.
previous letter has a dhamma, so we will call it
Wow, Madda.
vav madda. And now, same as it is, as we talked about alif madda, that when we found a madda, alif madda, so we stretch it for 2 seconds, and we stretch the sound of fatha for 2 seconds. So similarly, in the vav madda, when we found the vav madda, so we stretch it for 2 seconds, and we stretch the dhamma sound for 2 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
For example, if I write, so if I take the scene, the sound of scene is s,
S.
and scene has dhamma, and after that there is a vav madda, so we take double dhammas.
Oh,
Okay, so it will become su.
so,
Why we are taking two? Why we are stretching 2 seconds? Because one movement sign we will stretch for 1 second, right? When we
right.
have two movement signs, so we stretch 1 plus 1. So it will become 2 seconds. So that's why we are stretching any mother letter for 2 seconds. So it will ooh. Got it?
Oh,
Yeah. So if we want to write this one, so first of all, we have Swad with Fatha, and Swad has Alif Madda, so that's why we have to stretch it for 2 seconds, so it will become Saw. Then Hamza has Kasra. Hamza doesn't have a
okay.
sound, so we just pronounce the sound of Kasra, which is E. Saw E. Then Ba has Dhamma, and Ba has Vav Madda as well. So we read Ba with Dhamma, and then we stretch it for 2 seconds like Boo. And when we read both sound together separately, so it will become B, Ooh, Boo. Now read the whole Saw, Boo. Then Noon has Fatha, so just read Na, Na, Saw, Boo, Na. Got it?
So, Ibuna.
Yeah. Okay, so you can ask randomly any type of question to check either your student understood and remember your previous things, rules or not. So here we have see three wow, and all the wow has a sukun. So you can ask question, tell me how many mother letters, how many wow madda in this word, and tell me which wow is wow leen and which wow is wow madda. And also whatever you want to ask your students, you can ask and you can check either your student remember your his previous lessons or forgot. Okay, so now we are stopping here because our session is also uh, wind up soon. So inshallah the next lesson, and as I told you, inshallah in 2 lessons we will complete all our uh, lessons. After that, I will give you 1 day for practicing, and then I will take your demo.
Okay.
Okay. So inshallah ta'ala we will continue again from here. Take care. Allah Hafiz.